Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Elements of Machine Learning. Welcome to lecture 0 of this course. In this lecture, we would like to give you a quick overview of what we're planning to do with you and together with us. And well, let's get started with who will be lecturing. That would be me. I'm Jilles Vreek. I'm a professor at Saarland University. And at the same time, I'm faculty at CISPA. And I'll be co-lecturing together with...
That's me. That's Alexander Wojciechowski. Welcome also from my side to this lecture. I'm a faculty at CISPA, where I lead the group on trustworthy artificial intelligence. And next are perhaps the people who are more important to you. These are your daily caretakers. And these are the people that you will interact the most, because these are the teaching assistants. And they will lead the tutorial sessions and be there to answer every question you might have. So what is also very important is the schedule, the tentative schedule. We have roughly 2 halves, where the first half you will mostly interact with Jilles, and in the second half you'll see me. So the first half looks at some basic things like bias and variance. We'll look at regression, classification, and then a few more topics on generalization and model selection. In the second half, we'll switch gears and we'll look at going beyond nonlinearity. We'll look at a little bit on unsupervised methods such as dimensionality reduction and clustering. Then we'll go into some real-world machine learning, and I think you'll have a good time with all of these topics.
So when are you going to have this good time? You're going to have this good time on Thursdays from 4 till 6. Technically, we'll start 15 minutes late, but please be on time. The lecture is planned to be held hybrid. So the in-person part is going to be in the Günther Hotz in E22. Many of you already know this. This is the big lecture hall. At the same time, we will be streaming every lecture on Zoom live, and we'll make sure that it's recorded as well as you can see it live on YouTube. The first lecture starts next week, October 27th, and the last lecture is planned for February 9th, 2023. Within this planning, we, of course, will have to take account, what is the current COVID situation, what is the current heating situation and all that. So please keep a sharp eye on the website. We'll make clear which lectures are going to be online only or which will be in hybrid. Okay, after all the lectures, what are you doing this for? Of course, you want to write an exam. The exam is going to be in written form, and it's going to be held on February 23rd. You can already mark it in your calendars. There's also going to be a re-exam. That's going to be on March 23rd, so 1 month later after the first exam. You are allowed to improve your grade by doing the re-exam. Of course, you need to be eligible to take the exam, but more details on that in a second. Okay, so what do you need to take this course? Well, you need some prerequisites. First of all, you need some basic programming skills. You're computer science students, mostly, so assume that you know how to program. But you may or may not yet know how to program in Python. Python is going to be the language that we'll be using in this course. These days, this is the most prominent language within machine learning. Programming alone is not enough. You also need some basic math skills, at the very least at the bachelor's level, either computer science, bioinformatics, or equivalent. The courses that you take there, so MFE, Einstfo, and so on, are all fine. In addition, I have to stress that the most important part of math in computer science, or actually no, in machine learning, is linear algebra. Many people even joke that machine learning is just a big pile of linear algebra, and that's all there is to it. If your linear algebra is a bit rusty, pick up the book by Gilbert Strang, Introduction to Linear Algebra. That is the Bible of linear algebra. The machine learning also relies heavily on statistics. If your statistics is a bit rusty, because perhaps last semester you slept through statistics lab rather than paying full attention, I can recommend the book by Larry Wasserman, All of Statistics. Sounds a bit daunting, but the book is only so thick. It gives a great introduction to the basics of statistics. These are prerequisites, right? So use them to brush up your knowledge, but that's that.
Right. In order to test whether this knowledge has been sufficiently brushed up, we have an assignment 0, which is already available online at the moment when you're watching this lecture. And this is ungraded, but we really strongly recommend that you do take this assignment, because it will give you an idea of whether you are ready to take this course or not. And yeah, allow yourself all the time to prepare. Then we also have tutorial 0, which is going to be a short introduction to the Python language. So if you know how to program in another language, but not yet in Python, you can use this to get the basics. And we will also be using Jupyter notebooks, and these are, as you'll see, excellent for machine learning type of content. And as well, the tutorial and assignment 0 both are strongly encouraged for you to take.
Exactly. So, but those are technically optional. What is not going to be optional is the actual course material. We'll be using as the main guide in this course the book An Introduction to Statistical Learning by James Whitten Hasty and Tipsarani, or Tips for short. And we're going to be using the second edition of this book. The library has copies available, both of the first and second edition. The differences between the two are very small, and you might probably get by with the first one, but the second one is recommended. The good news is this book is available for free. You can download the PDF from the internet just like that. Right? I do give a personal recommendation to get a hard copy because somehow information just leaks better into your brain if you read from dead trees than just from pixels. In addition to this basic book, we also have an advanced book. This is The Elements of Statistical Learning. And yes, it's not a coincidence that the name of the course and this book have some connection. More about that during the lecture itself. ESL, as I like to call this book, is pretty hardcore. This is not a book that you can use for a third semester bachelor's course, but it does go really deep in a very good way. So it is didactically a very strong book. If you want to know about the nitty-gritties, grab ESL. If you want to get the intuition, grab ISL. And this is exactly how you should be using this course. Get the intuition, look at the details, and there you are. So ESL is in a way, or EML as a course is a little bit special because we have these two books. Well, the whole course is a bit special because this is, if I'm not mistaken, the only course that we offer here on site that is both a basic lecture that has to be taken by bachelor students. In fact, all recently updated programs in CS have it as a component, either in the third or the fifth semester. But it can also be taken by master students or by bachelor students who do not have, not studying yet in an updated program. This makes it a bit special because technically, if something is a basic course, you can take it just as a basic course and otherwise or. So you can take EML only once for credit. You can take it as often as you like, but only once for credit. I think that is fair. So how many credits do you get?
Yes. What do you get for your troubles? You get 6 credits. And you get these credits if you pass the exam, naturally. But to pass the exam, first you have to qualify for it. And to qualify, you need to score 50% cumulative points over the theory and practical assignments. We'll see in the next slide what these assignments are about. And let's say you've passed the exam, congratulations. You also have the option of improving your grade, and you do this via the bonus questions. Essentially, every 3 bonus points out of 6 total can improve your grade by 1/3. Right, so how do these assignments look like? Well, we have 6 sheets in total, and every sheet contains theory questions, practical questions, and 1 bonus question. And yes, you need to look at all of them. We encourage that you even look at the bonus question because this will get you that improved grade. The sheets will be released every 2 weeks, and then we have a deadline, which is 2 weeks after the sheets, and you can do them either individually or you can find a buddy and do them in pairs of 2. We post the solutions to all known bonus questions, meaning the theory and the practical questions after the deadline. So you can see whether you've solved them correctly. Finally, the first sheet will be handed out on November 3rd. So keep that date in mind. And as I said, you have 2 weeks after that, November 17th, to hand the solutions.
Okay, so we do allow you to collaborate, right? We in fact encourage you to collaborate, right? Do discuss solution strategies. However, there's one thing we very strictly do not condone, that is plagiarism. We do not want you to simply copy, right? We believe that everybody among you is very capable of looking stuff up on the internet, on copying almost exactly the solutions made by others, but there is no learning in that. So we have to very, very strongly say, no, not allowed. And like I said, this includes copying from the internet, this includes copying from other groups. We will very carefully consider every assignment sheet. And the moment we sniff out plagiarism, if it's beyond any reasonable doubt, the first time we catch you, you get a yellow card. That means you're on the watch list. The second time we catch you, you're out. You're not eligible to take the exam anymore. Okay, thanks, bye, see you next year, or perhaps never again. If anything very seriously happens, we have to report you. That's just simply the law as it is, to the exam office. And then it's also out of our hands what happens. Last year, just to make clear, this is not an idle threat, we officially warned 48 students. That's more than 10%. It's actually 15% of the students that took the course. Insane number. 10 were caught twice and expelled from the course. Okay. Our goal this year is to bring these numbers down, right? And the point is that, well, the only way how we can bring it down is by not checking, and that we're not going to do. So in the end, it's in your hands. Don't copy, learn. Okay, so, well, this was a bit stern, right? We're not just stern. I mean, we also want to actually help you to pass the course. And how are we going to help you? By organizing tutorials. We have 2 time slots. You have to choose one, or you can also decide not to follow the tutorials, but I recommend strongly that you do. The first time slot is on Mondays from noon till 2. The second time slot is on Tuesdays from noon till 2. Both are held hybrid in Hörsaal 2, Hörsaal 1, respectively, in the building E13. So you can join in person. You can also stream those via Zoom. They will, however, not be recorded nor streamed on YouTube. Right? This is more like a personal affair. You have to register for one of the 2 tutorial groups, such that we can balance a bit the groups and make sure that there's no overloading, because we want to make sure that, well, not too many people show up in the same room at the same time. So do this by October 28th. So that's in approximately a week from now. What is the general setup of these tutorials? Well, it's a bit of a repetitive process, of course. So suppose that in 1 week, when there was an assignment deadline, you did your assignment, you handed it in. A few minutes later, the solutions to the non-bonus questions will be posted. So you can already check, okay, how good or how bad were you, right? Meanwhile, our tutors and TAs will start grading your assignments. That goes behind the scenes. 1 week later, or actually a few days later, because the lectures are going to be on Thursday, and then on Monday, Tuesday, we have the tutorials. There's a tutorial. What do the TAs do? They will provide a recap of the previous lecture. Short recap in their own words of what were the most important things that we've been lecturing about. After that short recap, they will discuss in the 1 week the basic questions, the basic theory and practical questions. I mean, what were the most difficult aspects there? What were the pitfalls that most people fell in? That's going to be the second part. And third, well, there's an open round for questions. So you could call this an office hour if you wish, but we try to help you as far as we can without just plainly giving you the answer. Okay, next week. Almost exactly the same. There's a recap of the previous lecture, but this time we're going to be discussing the answers to bonus questions. And note, the bonus questions, we're not going to give out the answers like a solution sheet just like that. So if you want to know how to have done that best, you have to come to this tutorial. Afterwards, we again answer questions. Good. Okay, so questions. I mean, maybe you have a question. What do you do? Well, very important. Pay attention right now. First, check the website. 90% of all questions we get can easily be checked on the website. Check the lecture material. It's almost always directly in one of the slides. And check the recommended reading. Quite obvious. Then we have a forum on the course management system, CMS. That's very easy to find when you all know how to maneuver your way around it. Check in the forum if your question has not already been answered. There's even going to be a sticky post with frequently asked questions, and also the answers, not just the questions, we also post the answers. If your question is not yet answered, post it on the forum, and maybe your fellow students can help, and otherwise our TAs and tutors, they will be on duty to answer this in a reasonable time frame. Reasonable means, however, that weekends are free, right? And if you post your question at 10 in the evening, don't expect it to be answered by 11 or something. Yeah? Even people like us need our evenings and our weekends. Okay, suppose that this is really out of the question. You have really a private issue and you don't want to post this on the forum. This happens. Then, and only then, you're allowed to email to eml-tas@cispa.de. TAs will pick this up, and these are professionals, so don't worry. I mean, this will stay private, will stay among us. They will decide what course of action to follow and whether to escalate the matter to Alexander or myself, and then we will deal with it. Do not mail us directly. We will simply delete the email. We get hundreds of emails per day, and honestly, we would love to answer your emails, which simply don't have the time. So please follow this very simple flow chart. One very important thing, regardless of whether you post on the forum, write us an email, whichever or whatever form of communication, be nice, be a nice person, always. We are here to help, not to serve. But we're just doing our job, but actually for us, teaching is a hobby. For our TAs, teaching is a hobby. We're not paid to do this explicitly. And even if we were, always be nice. We don't answer the rudeness. So follow the template, dear, where is whoever you're addressing, then clearly state whatever you want to communicate, and then end with best regards, and then your name. Very good template. Reserve hi, to your friends, with those people you don't know, you're steer. Good. On that bombshell, we're done.
Yes,
right?
that is
This was lecture 0. Now you know everything to get started with EML. I'm looking forward to seeing you next week.
And I'm looking forward to seeing you after the Christmas break.
Okay. Bye-bye.